Shalom, Royal Family. The class you are about to hear is taught by the Honorable Yahweh, Beit Nun Sophie Yahweh, many years ago. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Visit us at www.yahweh144000.com. Also, Royal Family, you can enroll in classes designed for the Godhead at www.universityofyahweh.org. And also, Royal Family and friends, we want to share with you Yahweh's Keys to Riches. And on that YouTube channel, you can listen to Yahweh's Daily Word and keep up with the correct solar time each and every day. We'd like to see you there as well. Go to Yahweh's Keys to Riches. It's in the description below so that you can join us there as well. Remember, when you get there, just like here, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channels. All right, Royal Family, we look forward to seeing you there as well. Enjoy.
You wonder why your life is full of hell. It's because you're eating from the tree of good and evil. That's all you've ever eaten. Your mother's life was hell. Your grandmother's life was hell. Your great-grandmother's life was hell. Your great-great-grandmother's life was hell. And your great-great-great-grandmother's life was hell. And your great-great-great-great-grandfather's life was hell. And all of them, all the way back to Adam, their life has been nothing but hell and sorrow, pain and tears, hunger and death. All because you eat from the tree of good and evil, which was grafted by Lucifer, Satan, the devil himself. He thrives on making your life hell. You wonder why they treat you so bad? That's what their rulership is about. You don't know any other way but hell. So everything you write is hellish. What you read is hellish. What you dream up is hellish. What you think day and night is hellish. When you go to sleep, it's hellish. Your husband, your wife is hellish. Your children are hellish. The teachers are hellish. The church is hellish. The preacher is hellish. Everybody's hellish. Everybody on earth is hellish. I mean, I like to hear it, but it's still true. They can't teach you to avoid hell. And they're teaching you hell. They're teaching you from the perspective of hell. They have the book of God in their hands. Don't understand this cryptology. It's cryptic messages. That's hell. That's hellish. The tree of good and evil is infernal. So all the people of the earth is infernal. The tree of good and evil is unholy. Unholy. Think about that. Therefore, the people of earth are unholy. Your friends are unholy. Your husband is unholy. Your wife is unholy. Your children is unholy. Your mother is unholy. Your father is unholy. Your aunts and your uncles are unholy. Your cousins are unholy. Your friends are unholy. The people you work with are unholy. Those you depend upon in government are unholy. What do you expect in your life except an unholy condition? When the only thing out here is the tree of good and evil, which itself is unholy. And the only words and philosophies that are available to you are unholy words and unholy philosophies. And you're a witness that that's what you are surrounded by. Unrighteous ideas. Why? Because the tree of good and evil is unrighteous itself. And I'm proving to you that these are the only words and philosophies you have. The school system, the public school system, said that you can't have prayer in school because they're so unholy and unrighteous that they don't want even the hint of any kind of God being acknowledged as being in power or being sovereign over them. The teachers and those who rule that system are so unrighteous that they don't want anything that resembles God in the school. So the public education is without the book of God, without the book of Yahweh in it. And yet the foundation of America was based upon the book of the Bible, the Holy Word of Yahweh. That's That's what made the country great. So they've come to the point of saying we don't want it in the school. So they have a law saying there's separation between church and state. There's no real separation between church and state, but there is a separation between state and God of the universe, the Creator. That's what the separation is. That makes the state unrighteous. They certainly don't teach righteousness. The schools don't teach righteousness. Think about it. Then if the schools are not teaching what's right, they can only be teaching what's wrong. But your minds are so blinded by Lucifer, Satan, the devil, that old serpent, until you're unable to even question what you're being taught and what your children are being taught, or what you have been taught, and what your parents have been taught. You've been unable to question that reality. That, my God, if I'm not allowed to study what's right in school, then I must be studying what's wrong. No wonder my children leave home right, come back home wrong. My children leave home loving me, come back from school hating me. My children leave home trusting me as their parents. And they come back from the public schools, or any school of this world, it doesn't matter what it is, come back from school not trusting me. They trust in the people who don't believe in God at all, who don't believe in right at all, who refuse to teach what's right. They would rather teach your child that you come from a monkey. So your child then is being taught that they are pure beasts. Then if you have the mind of a beast, then you're going to be treated like a beast. And that fits in perfectly with the beast-minded, the most subtle beast of the field in the book of Genesis, chapter 3. Satan, Lucifer, is the most subtle of all the beasts. So he's a beast himself. So he turns your children into beasts, gives them a beast mindset. Oh, but you can't question these things because you've never been taught them. Because the tree of good and evil is unrighteous itself. And yet that's all they feed you from. And now that you're beginning to take a look at this, you can see it clearly. The tree of good and evil is unblessed. All who eat from the tree of good and evil are unblessed. There's just no blessing there for you. The tree of good and evil is unsanctified. And yet the purpose of creation is that you become sanctified, and that you sanctify yourself and be holy, like the Father himself is perfect and holy. But since your educational system doesn't teach you to be perfect, then what are they teaching you to do? It's not perfect. It's got to be imperfect. Nothing else is there. You study what perfection is, and if your school systems are not teaching you perfection, what in the world are they teaching you? But imperfection. They've got to be teaching the opposite. If it doesn't include perfection, then it's less than whole, it's less than complete. But then common sense is not something that we have. The tree of good and evil is unhallowed. The earth is unhallowed. The people of the earth are unhallowed. The tree of good and evil is unconsecrated. Therefore, the people of earth are unconsecrated. You are unconsecrated. You don't know what it takes to be consecrated. And when you think you have consecrated yourself and set yourself aside for the use, the exclusive use of Almighty God, you don't know his name and don't know his laws and don't know what it requires, and you don't live it. And you don't know what living it is because you have a false understanding of what consecrate is. Because your knowledge of consecration is from the tree of good and evil. That makes you deceived. The tree of good and evil is perfidious. So the people of earth are perfidious. The tree of good and evil is treacherous. So the people of earth are treacherous. Your best friend is treacherous. And you are a witness that your best friend is treacherous. You've had many people you thought were your best friends. They turned out to be the most treacherous experiences you've ever had in your life are from people that you considered your best friends. There's someone you fall in love with and you marry them, and they turn out to be treacherous to you. You can't believe it. I mean, you put all your trust in them, in your love, and gave your heart, and it still turned out to be treacherous. Because they eat from the tree of good and evil, which itself is treacherous. The tree of good and evil is insidious. All who eat from the tree of good and evil are insidious. The tree of good and evil is traitors. It produces traitors. And that's all it can produce, because that's what it is. That's the attribute of the tree of good and evil. It is traitorous. The tree of good and evil is unscrupulous. So it produces unscrupulous people. All who eat from that tree is unscrupulous. Now what are the facts? The facts are there's no other tree for you to eat from but the tree of good and evil. And these are the words and the philosophies that permeate the entire world today. The tree of good and evil is unprincipled. So what do you have? A world full of unprincipled people who are eating from the tree of good and evil, an unprincipled tree. The tree of good and evil is crooked. All who eat the words of the tree of good and evil are crooked. All who eat the words of the tree of good and evil are crooked. All who eat of the philosophy of the tree of good and evil are crooked. There is no other tree for you to eat from but the tree of good and evil. Therefore you are crooked. But I am come to make the crooked things straight. And the only way that you can be made straight is to receive the knowledge of the tree of life and practice the knowledge of the tree of life. The tree of good and evil are dishonorable. It is dishonorable. So the people of the earth are dishonorable. You are dishonorable. Your family, everybody you know is dishonorable. So they're all eating the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is scoundrelly. Produces all who eat it are scoundrels. The tree of good and evil itself is thievish. It teaches thievery. Even on television, they have the nerve to teach you before the world it takes a thief to be successful. And the most glamorous man on television was a thief. And you worship him. He probably received a Grammy or Emmy award for being the best thief on television. And you wonder why your sons and daughters are in jail for stealing? And how many of you steal that are not in jail? It was frightening. Just about everybody on the planet would be in the prison. If everybody was caught, those who sit on the jury are thievish. Those who judge you are thievish. Because they eat from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is connivance. So the world is connivance. The tree of good and evil is criminal. So it produces nothing but criminals. All who eat from it are criminals. The earth is criminal. Everybody is acting criminally. The tree of good and evil is wrong. So what's happening to the minds of the people? They're wrong. Wrong mindset. Why? Because they eat from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is reprehensible. Therefore, you are reprehensible. Why? Because you eat from the tree of good and evil. You're just now having a choice. The tree of good and evil is felonious. Produces felons. All who eat from the tree of good and evil become felonious. That's a terrible thing to know. To realize. It's a good thing to know. But it's a terrible thing to realize that you have this kind of mind. You have the mind of a felon. The tree of good and evil is lawless. So it produces nothing but outlaws. That's what Yahweh meant when he said, if you eat from this tree, you will die. They're lawless. The whole world is breaking the laws of Yahweh. What he says thou shalt not do, that's what man does. And they have 1,000 excuses to continue doing what he says thou shalt not do. Because all they eat from is the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is unregenerate. It's unregenerate. So, as long as that's the only tree available to you, you are unregenerate. The world is unregenerate. You cannot be regenerated except through the tree of life. The tree of good and evil is unrepentant. So the people of earth are unrepentant, just as they were in the days of Noah. Noah taught them the truth. He taught them the world was going to be destroyed. But they were unrepentant. They wouldn't accept what he said. They made fun of him. They mocked him. And the same is going on at this very hour. The tree of good and evil is impenitent. So the people of earth are impenitent. They they're not about to bow to the will of Yahweh in their impenitent state. The tree of good and evil is obdurate. The people of earth are obdurate because they eat from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is incorrigible and produces nothing but incorrigible people, incorrigible children. Just cannot be controlled. They only will respond to force and violence. And then, of course, the God of this world took heaven by force and violence in the first place. So he rules through force and violence. He's not going to allow anything else except through divine change, except through divine intervention of the tree of life. And he's just going to keep on producing incorrigible people. And you have children that come up right in your house, incorrigible, and you don't know what in the world to do with them. You're unable to relate to your own child that came from your womb or came from your scrotum, your loins, because you don't understand what's happening. You don't understand that that very child has been feeding from the words of the tree of good and evil all their life, though it's a young life, maybe 3-4 years old, they become incorrigible and demonstrate it. Some children don't demonstrate it until teenagers. Some don't demonstrate it until their early 20s or so. But they're still there. The seed of incorrigibility is always there because that's all they've ever eaten. The tree of good and evil is unpardonable. Unpardonable. And the people of earth are unpardonable. There's no way for you to be pardoned eating from this tree. You must cease to eat from the tree of good and evil and make your judgment between the tree of good and evil and the tree of life. 6,000 years have produced a whole world full of unpardonable people, except that you return to the laws of Yahweh. The tree of good and evil is unforgivable, producing unforgivable people. The whole planet Earth are unforgivable, except at the coming of the Son of Yahweh. I am come to forgive you of your sins of breaking the law, statutes, judgments, and commandments of Yahweh. But you have to receive me in order to be forgiven. You have to receive my name in order to be forgiven. There is no other way. The tree of good and evil is degenerate. Produces nothing but a bunch of degenerates. Whole world full of degenerate people practicing degeneracy. Why? Why are people all over the planet degenerate in all the society? Because the tree of good and evil is what's available, and they're eating from it. The tree of good and evil is corrupt. It produces a corrupt child, which produces a corrupt teenager, produces a corrupt parent, who produce corrupt children. What else can it possibly do? That's all they know. The tree of good and evil is depraved. Nature is depravity. And all what you eat, so you become depraved as a result of eating from the tree of good and evil. So you have a whole world full of depravity. The tree of good and evil is immoral. You wonder why the earth is full of immorality? I mean, you really do wonder? What else can it be? It can't be anything else but an immoral world, because the world has been deceived by Lucifer, Satan, the devil, that old dragon, that old serpent. How? Through the tree of good and evil. That's the whole idea of all these books, magazines, and movies, and philosophies in your countries, in your societies, in your homes, and your families. And you've taken it up, and you haven't recognized it. You can't recognize it. Even when you think you have censored out books and censored people out of your country, you still have the tree of good and evil running rampant. It's already ingrained that you don't have access to the tree of life except through the Son of Yahweh, which is Yahweh represents the Yahweh. So all who eat from the tree of good and evil become immoral, like the tree itself. The tree of good and evil is dissolute. Dissolute. So the people of earth are dissolute. The tree of good and evil is profligate. So it produces profligators. It can't produce anything else but profligators. The tree of good and evil is reprobate. So it produces people with a reprobate mind. And yes, that's a word that you can study. That's what happens. You become a member of the congregation of the dead when you're reprobate. Well, you're already reprobate. That's what's so strange and funny is, though you may talk about a reprobate mind, you who talk about it are reprobate until you choose to eat exclusively from the tree of life. When you let your child watch television for 5 minutes, that's enough to corrupt your child, to cause your child to become a degenerate, to become immoral. Just think about that. You become a reprobated minded child. You can lose your child through 5 minutes of television. That's all it is. And your child will not want to look like God, but will want to look like Satan. Would like to look like the world, have a worldly mentality, and tell you that's what looks good to them. The tree of good and evil is abandoned. So all who eat from it are abandoned. And there's nothing worse than to be abandoned by the Creator. Yahweh. The tree of good and evil is dissipated. So it produces a bunch of people who dissipate. A bunch of dissipators on the earth. The tree of good and evil is opprobrious. So the earth is opprobrious. The tree of good and evil is disgraceful. And you wonder why your children are so disgraceful. They have no grace at all. They're disgraceful instead of graceful. If they eat from the tree of life, they would be graceful. But since they eat from the tree of good and evil, they're disgraceful. And some of you have lost your sense of what a disgrace is. And your child can look any kind of way, dress any kind of way, speak any kind of way, act any kind of way, have no regard for anybody, no respect for anything, no respect for any type of authority. They don't respect you as parents. They don't respect each other as brothers and sisters. They don't respect school. They don't respect their jobs. They don't respect anything, because that's what the tree of good and evil produces, and that's what Satan knew from the beginning, that this is what would be produced. And he came in, and I'll share that with you shortly. He came in, and he brought the idea of eating from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is shameful. This is nothing but shame. People who act shameful. People who display shamefully before the world. Things that one used to consider decent and in order 40, 50 years ago is openly flaunted today as bad and reprehensible. I mean, think about it. Think about that. The tree of good and evil is contemptible. All who eat from that tree are contemptible. Their actions, their thoughts, their ideas are contemptible. The tree of good and evil is scurvy. And those who eat the words of the tree of good and evil are scurvy. The tree of good and evil is abhorrent. And you become abhorrent. The world is abhorrent by eating from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is loathsome. And you become loathsome. The world is loathsome. And the Creator who made you considers you loathsome because you're eating from the tree of good and evil. He placed before your father the tree of life and the tree of good and evil, and gave them instructions and a commandment. He gave them law, statutes, judgments, and commandments in the Garden of Eden, and told them, don't touch it, lest you die. Satan came and lied to you and said you would not die. Well, you're a witness today. You truly died, because the tree of good and evil is hateful. It is hateful. It produces nothing but hate. All who eat from the tree of good and evil are hateful. All of you are hateful. The whole world is hateful. You have people in the same religion killing each other. People who believe in the same Bible killing each other. You can go to a country like Ireland where the Catholics and the Protestants both believe in Christ and kill each other, violate each other. Something is wrong. Why the hate? Why is brother killing brother? From the day of Cain and Abel, brother has been killing brother. Brother has been hating brother. Because the tree of good and evil is hate. It can't produce anything else but hate. It produces that jealousy and the spite and envy. That's what it produces. How can people be different from that which they ingest? How can your body be more healthy than what you eat? If you're eating unhealthy diet, you're going to be an unhealthy person. If you're drinking an unhealthy drink, you're going to be an unhealthy person. If you're taking some kind of chemical in your body that's unhealthy, you're going to be an unhealthy person. You're taking unhealthy thoughts, you're an unhealthy thinking person. There's no way to get around it. It's change the results for yourself by refusing to eat from the tree of good and evil anymore, and now come to the Son, Yahweh, and eat of the tree of life. The tree of good and evil is detestable. And it produces detestable people. And since the world is eating of the tree of good and evil, then the world is detestable. The tree of good and evil is despicable. You are despicable. The people of earth are despicable. I have to tell you this truth. It's sometimes painful for me to say these things to you. And I'm sure that many of you feel pain from hearing the fact that you're despicable. But if you look up the word, you will agree. If you look up the word despicable in many dictionaries, you will agree that you are despicable. You live the despicable life. If you look up the word in your synonym finder by J.A. Rodell, you will agree that you are despicable. Period. By definition. And that's what the tree of good and evil produces. Despicable people. The tree of good and evil is pernicious. Pernicious. So, it's fruit is pernicious. So you're pernicious. The tree of good and evil is harmful. It produces nothing but harm. That's why the people who are in charge of the planet Earth are harming the atmosphere. Why do you have to have an environmental committee and you have to fight all of your life and actual fight, physical fights, and yet the people in charge, no matter where you get them from, they're made up from the people of the community who are eating from the tree of good and evil. You are attending the same school, which are feeding you nothing but the tree of good and evil. So when you get in a political office or a public office, you're not going to treat the earth right because you're in office. And no matter who walks up and tells these people that they're polluting the air, they're not going to stop polluting the air because their mind is polluted. The tree of good and evil is polluted. That's all they've ever eaten from, so their brain is polluted. And since their brain is polluted, they're naturally going to pollute the air. They're going to pollute the water. They're going to pollute the food. They're going to pollute the ground. They're going to pollute everything. They can't help but do that. Because they're eating from the tree of good and evil, which is harmful. So they're harmful to all of existence. That's why they don't have any problem harming a fetus. They're so diabolically evil until they give the mother the right to kill a baby in the womb. But notice, they clean it up by saying abortion is still murder. It's the murder of an unborn child. That's what it is. But they don't want to use murder. They want to use the word abortion. And the other people who fight against the murder of an unborn child, they don't like to just come out and just keep saying murder, murder, murder. They too fall victim to the tree of good and evil and start using words abortion. And they start trying to use code words, free choice, right to choice, and right to life. I mean, two sides, good and evil. Good and evil. But yet the net result is evil. Why? Because the babies are still being murdered. Then, if the same mother kills the baby at birth, then these same diabolical fiends who said it's all right to murder the baby as long as he's inside the womb will turn around and prosecute the mother for murder when he steps outside the womb. He's the same child. He's not less of a child at any point of gestation. He is a child from the moment of conception. If not, leave him alone. He's not a child. Don't bother it. It'll come to be other than a child. No, they know well that this is an unborn baby. And yet, because they eat from the tree of good and evil, they are murderers from the beginning. So they murder the baby. Then they seek to murder the parents for murdering the baby. They allow the doctors to murder the baby, and he gets away with killing. But someone can come and kill the same doctor who has just killed 10,000 babies. He has just murdered 10,000 babies, and he goes free as a murderer of 10,000 babies. And yet when somebody murders him or kills 10,000 babies, then they're going to murder the one who murdered him, the doctor. The one who killed the doctor is going to be killed by the killers who gave the doctor the right to kill 10,000 babies. So don't you know that's the tree of good and evil? That can't be anything else. That's rather clear. So the tree of good and evil is injurious. Produces injury, produces people who injure others. The tree of good and evil is innocuous. So the earth is innocuous, having eaten from the tree of good and evil. The tree of good and evil is hurtful. All it produces is hurt. All who eat of the tree of good and evil hurt others. The tree of good and evil is mischievous. The earth is full of mischief because the earth is eating from the tree of good and evil. And it's not a color thing, because you have the blackest of nations who are killing their blackest of children, their blackest of friends. Brown people are killing their own brown people. Red people are killing their own red people. Yellow people are killing their own yellow people. And white people are killing their own white people. So this is not a color thing. This is trying to fall for the other trick of things about black against white. That's all another game from the tree of good and evil. It's not so. The tree of good and evil is detrimental